Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to learn about the shortest job first scheduling algorithm. See, in the previous algorithms, we have seen like round robin scheduling algorithm and first come first serve scheduling algorithm. We have seen that the criteria is the arrival time. So, based on the arrival time, uh, the process is given the chance to execute in the CPU. That is in the case of the first come first serve scheduling algorithm. In the case of the round robin scheduling algorithm, uh, a time quantum is allotted for a particular process. Okay, so in both of that, basically the arrival times plays the main role. In the case of the shortest job first scheduling algorithm, here we're taking the burst time. So burst time means execution time of a process. See, if a process is having a less amount of execution time, then it is allowed to execute first. In the first come first serve scheduling algorithm, so there is a drawback called convoy effect. That means higher burst time process or if your process is having higher burst time and if it is allowed to execute first, then what happens? The process with lower burst time has to wait a lot of a long time, right? So that process can be overcome here in the shortest job for scheduling algorithm. So that's why here, to avoid the starvation of the process, uh, a process with the lowest burst time is allowed to execute first. Okay, a process with least execution time is allowed to execute first in the shortest job for scheduling algorithm. That's why the criteria is burst time and the mode is non-preemptive. So non-preemptive means so there will be no disturbances while executing a process. Okay, so a process will completely execute and then it will uh, and then the CPU will allow another process to execute. Okay, so non-preemptive means there will be no interval or no disturbance while executing a process, and if a process enters the running state, then it will completely execute. So if the process burst times are matching, then schedule the process which is having the least arrival time. Okay, suppose if two processes are having the same burst time, then so how should we select the process to execute? So based on the arrival time, the least arrival time, a process with the least arrival time has to be selected for the execution. Okay. See, let us see an example on how to execute the shortest job first scheduling algorithm using a simple example. So here I have taken the process with the five processes with the arrival time and burst time. Okay. So the first one is, so here, so we are going to execute the process based on the least arrival time. For the first process, the arrival time will be taken as the criteria, and for the remaining process, the burst time will be taken as a criteria here. Okay, so the process with the arrival time, the least arrival time is 1, right? So first we will start the Gantt chart with the 0. So for at the arrival time 0, there is no process that entered the ready queue. Okay, so the 0 to 1 is the idle time. Okay, 1. So this is the idle time. And the next one, so for the first process, at the arrival time 1, the process P1 has entered the ready queue. So the P1 will be taken here. Okay, the P1 will be taken here. So next one. So P1 will execute for the burst time of 7 units of time. So 7 plus 1 is 8. Okay. So next we will select the process with the least execution time here. The P1 is completed here. So since the mode is non-preemptive, so P1 will execute completely here. And then the process P2 will start, the process with the least burst time, that is the P3 is having the less amount of burst time. So this will be selected for the execution P3. Okay, for how much amount of time? So 1. So 8 plus 1 is 9. Okay, so next one. So the P3 has also completed the execution. P1 and P3 has finished the execution part. See now, so what is the next process with the least amount of burst time? So P4. So P4 is having the least amount of execution time. So it will be taken for execution P4. And the time is 2 units. It will execute for 2 units of time. So 9 plus 2 is 11. Okay. So P4 is also finished here. And then P5 and P2. Okay, so here P2 is having the least amount of execution time. So P2 will be selected for execution. Okay, so it will execute for 5 units of time, that is 16. Okay, and the last one is P5 with the highest burst time is 8. So P5 will be selected for the execution here, P5. So units of time is 8. Okay, so 16 plus 8 is 24. Okay, so like this the process will execute in the Gantt chart. Okay, so now we can write the completion time of the process. So what is the completion time of P1 here? So that is 8 and P2 is 16. Okay, so P2 is 16 and P3 is 9 and P4 is 11 and P5 is 24. So these are the completion time of the process. And what is the turnaround time? How to calculate the turnaround time? So turnaround time, we know the formula, that is a completion time minus arrival time, that is a turnaround time. Okay, so completion time minus arrival time. So 8 minus 1 is 7 and 16 minus 2, that is 14 and 9 minus 3, that is 6 and 11 minus 4, that is 7 and 24 minus 5, that is 19. Okay, so 19. So next, waiting time. How to calculate the waiting time? So turnaround time minus burst time. So 7 minus 7 is 0 and 14 minus 5 is 9. Okay, and 6 minus 1 is 5 and 7 minus 2 is 5. Okay, and sorry, and 19 minus 8, that is 10, sorry, 11. And we have to calculate the average turnaround time and average waiting time also. So that is 14 plus 6 plus 7 plus 19 plus 7 by 5 process. For the 5 process, we are calculating the average turnaround time. Okay. Similarly, for waiting time, 0 plus 9 plus 5 plus 5 plus 11. Okay, so that is 10 plus 11, 21, 21 plus 1, 9, 30. So the waiting time is 30 by 5. And similarly for the turnaround time, average turnaround time is 14 plus 6, 20 plus 27, 34. So 54 by 5. So this is the average turnaround time and average waiting time of the given example. Okay, and this is about the shortest job for scheduling algorithm. Thanks for watching my video. Thank you.